We're live. Yay!
Okay, now where is it gonna go? Before we lock it in place.
The tape over there.
This one? Is that where you want it?
Yep.
We also have this. If you want to use it, but that's for the phone, right? Thank you. I'm just trying to see what you
I'm just trying to tighten it.
Okay. This is a brand new one.
Gotcha.
We just got some super familiar with this, but it's more stable than my old one.
It says it's live, so
There you go.
we should be good.
You good.
We should be good. Actually, yeah. Let's do one. Let's get out of the front. Bud, what's up?
I'm just waiting.
Hey, how about you sit down? Right? Sit down. You can wait while sitting down.
Last chance to get a good picture, folks. We're closing it for attending, but if you haven't gotten the pics yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. The ceremony is about to begin. At this time, we ask that you please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices. If you haven't already done so and you would like to, there is water in the back so that you can stay hydrated. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Colonel Matthias and Colonel Taylor, welcome to the retirement ceremony honoring the distinguished career of Lieutenant Colonel Jess J-Lo Lopez. My name is Captain Leah Young, and I will be your narrator for today's ceremony. We are pleased to extend a special welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Lopez's family, Juan, her husband, her sons Jaime and Jorge, also known collectively as the J-Lo clan, her father John Perez and her stepmother Pauline Perez, her mother Dawn Vonderheide, and stepfather Warren Herr, and half-brothers Josh, Liam, and Kevin Perez. We would also like to extend a very special welcome to all family, friends, and coworkers. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Reminder that there's water. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce today's presiding officials, Colonel Taylor and Colonel Matthias. Colonel Taylor will now make remarks.
Hi. Is it easy to hear me without the mic? Or not really? Okay, yay. All right. Good job. I'm going to wander a little bit and use my command voice. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for being here with us to celebrate Jess Day and her family and her years and years of dedicated service to our nation and this Air Force. This group, USAFA, I couldn't be more honored to be a part of it, Jess, so thank you so much for including me. I was going to say, notice the beautiful backdrop, which you saw earlier, so picture it. It really is incredible and kind of a full circle moment that we get to recognize Jess's career here. Since really her start in the Air Force, a lot of it was here at the airfield. And I got to learn a lot about Jess over the last few weeks, which has been really, really fun. So a couple of thank yous. Captain Young, Colonel Hinton. This stuff is not easy to do, so the chairs, the sound system, all of the certificates, setting all of this up, especially in a hangar, hanging out here with us, isn't easy to do, so thank you for doing that. It's really, really important, I think, that we do it to honor Jess and her family in the way they deserve, so thank you for all of that. I also want to thank some special family members that I think I met. I didn't meet everybody yet, but I think I've got. So Juan, we're going to recognize you. Jaime, I see you. Jorge, right? Okay, John, you're on this side. Yep. Pauline, Dawn, yep, I got you. Warren, Josh, and Kevin is hiding. Okay, I got it. You scattered. I was gonna say to the front row, but you guys are amongst the crowd, which is awesome. We all know that the JLO plan and Jess wouldn't be here without all of you to support her and to support this whole family. So thank you for the sacrifices that you've made and everything you've given to allow for her two-decade plus time in service. Okay, to all friends and family, I know I saw a few DF colonels for sure. Colonel Pipes, who I saw throughout Jess's rope, her record of performance. Colonel Martin, thank you for being here too. Everybody from USAFA, specifically the Department of Faculty, and yeah, we're bringing planes in, but maybe we can't bring them all. We need to pause? Yes. Okay, we need to pause.
If everyone will grab their chair and scoot over.
It's an interactive retirement ceremony. You're getting steps in. Hail to Colorado.
What happened? Lightning? Huh? Hail. Oh. Oh, there you go. Gotta make way for it. We had hail in the area, so they had to move people a little bit. Everything's fine now. What? I am recording.
Are we closing that one, or are we leaving that open? That's why I'm here. Open, closed, closed. Yeah, like that better.
Everyone gets to be new people now. Mid-ceremony shuffle.
Okay. So close. So not moving anywhere. I I already said this to Jess, but that was the contingency response portion of the ceremony, which, no, that is, okay. I have to start over. Good afternoon. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so I think where I was is thanking all the rest of our friends and family who are able to be here to help celebrate Jess and the JLO plan. Everybody from USAPA, specifically the Department of Faculty, and then everybody from the 306 Flying Training Group. Special about Jess, and really Colonel Martin is here too. These are two people that if you didn't know better, you would think were assigned to the 306 FTG. Because not only do they come down and fly with us, they lead in this group, they pick up other duties. Jess could have easily been doing nothing related to this flying training group over the last 3 weeks, and instead, in a sling, she was sitting operations supervisor because she cares that much. She's just a really, really special person, and we're so happy that we get to recognize you here. We're a plane that's really close to us. Okay, so I have a disclaimer. You're going to hear from two philosophy and neither of those is me. So bear with me after my comments before you get to the I'm sure will be much better thought out, but I get to brag about Jess as a pilot, and then I'm going to hand it over, and Colonel Mathias is going to get to brag about Jess as a doctor, which is so cool. I learned so much stuff about you over the last few weeks, which I already knew you were a doctor. All right, Jess, I think you're going to be really proud of me because I've also delved into some techniques of digital humanities over the last few weeks. I learned a little bit about it. So what was really helpful was text miming. That's a technique, yeah. Through your record of performance to find themes. And it wasn't hard to do. I didn't need a computer. I didn't have to put it in a computer. I could do it myself. 3 themes really easily popped out to me. One is persistence. Oh my gosh. If you want something to happen, you're going to make it happen. And it's incredible. You can see that throughout your career. One is dedication. When you decide you're going to do it, you do it 150%. You throw everything into it. I can't count the number of 100%'s highest score. I did see like a 98 and a 99 in there. I was disappointed for a second, but then I saw hundreds again. Just incredible, and you put the extra work in to do it. So absolutely you're dedicated. So what do we say? We said persistent, dedicated, and you're resilient. You have everybody, and if we don't think that they do, it's to share it with. Everybody's got stuff going on in their lives. You have faced some, and you've overcome them incredibly and gracefully, and you've resiliently come back to just be successful in every way. So those are the 3 themes. We're going to hit on those as we talk a little bit through your career. Okay, so I learned that, I asked Jess yesterday, should have done it earlier probably, but why the Air Force Academy? Was it yesterday? Maybe the day before. And she said, well, you know, it's a funny story. I was and they made leave. And she said, today, which I picture it being just like that class. And because somebody asked her, well, have you ever heard of the Air Force Academy? I hadn't, but she decided, that sounds right. And she did it. She made it happen. So long before you 2004 with that guy. Ready for
I'm
he's
already
retired.
retired.
He doesn't have to do that. And he over no, okay. Yeah, I know. I joined the class of 2004. You were already showing that. You decided that's all. I'm going to do that. Flying school, and if you Jess in the front of an airplane in your programs, and she decided, and she didn't expect it to be easy. She knew that she could do the hard work to make it happen. All right, so we enter the class of 2004, and 4-degree year is really hard for everybody. Due to things we control, it was probably harder for you. And regardless, you got through it. You didn't just get through it, you succeeded, because throughout her time at the Academy, she's the 3 times academic all-conference in the Mountain West Conference for track and field. That I didn't know until you sent all that stuff, which is really cool. 3 times. So not only were you excelling excelling to like a crazy degree, right? You were leading on the track and field team. You went through AM 490, so that is our basic jump course. For anyone who doesn't know, your first jump is free fall. You've got to pull your own ripcord. It is really challenging. The ground is probably some of the most challenging. Challenging for everyone. Jess got extra instruction after class. She pushed through all that ground training, and the leadership of that squadron called her the outstanding student in her AM 490 class for the additional effort that she put into 490. You were also number 1 of 176 in your IFT class, right? First year. So we don't do full IFT anymore, but at the time we did, and Jess was the top grad. And you should read the training report. It says, engine for sure, she will be a UPT DG. It couldn't have been more glowing, and that was as a first seat. When just a few years before, you're like, what is the Air Force Academy? So pretty cool. But you're most dedicated to your mission as combat survival training element leader. In fact, you are so dedicated to your people and your element that you are still taking care of one of them today. Yeah. Really element leader. Yeah. There are details of the story. They involve falling off a top bunk. I don't know what we're wearing when we fall off the top bunk. Yeah. First dates, fire in the Chapel Hills parking lot, yep. On a Dumbo carnival ride. So if you want all the details, you'll have to ask Juan after the maybe a brewery. That would be a good place for that.
After a few.
After a few, yeah. Okay, so again, not just surviving the academy. General LaTundra would be say not just surviving but thriving. You absolutely did that. All right, so 2 June 2004, we both graduate, we commission. 10 days later, we get married, we're committed. And she said you still most love each other, and that's great. I think that is success. That is success. Okay, so from USAFA, we head to Oklahoma to Vance Air Force Base and go together, Bomb Squadron, UPT. And again, I would say UPT is hard for everybody. It was harder for you. Due to some things beyond your control. And guess what? You got your wings anyway. And you earned a C-17, which for anybody that doesn't know, it's very hard to do. That's first on almost everybody's list that goes through mobility, or it definitely was at the time. It was the new thing. Everybody wanted to go to the C-17. If you couldn't have a C-130, you would want to go to the C-17, right? So you earned that, leaving UPT, even though that was not easy. That was hard work. And again, academic excellence, obviously performing very, very well to earn that C-17. So, at this point, and I just learned this today, we had to part paths, right? Blue to green?
I mean,
no offense.
I wanted to be in the military.
Okay. Okay, so blue to green. So I just learned this today. The JLO plan, or plan of 2, we already are separating a little bit. We're parting ways as Jess heads to Charleston, right, for C-17s. While at Charleston, she gets there, she has a talk with her squadron commander. Anything less than like, hey, just so you know, I like this plane, I think I'll fly it, but not forever. Like, I have other interests, I want to do other things, I'm really, really inclined towards academia. And to me, it's really impressive that she would know that already and have these goals set. So she was really honest with her squadron commander, and to me, that is that dedication and persistence. She knew what she wanted to do. So after that talk with your squadron CC, it didn't matter. You're like number 1 AC, number 1 IP, all the place, number 1 pilot. It seems you did find joy flying that aircraft, but really, really hit your stride when you upgraded to aircraft commander. And when you were leading crews, and you did that in combat, you pilot in combat in your first deployment, and then as an aircraft commander, and once you're at your, actually you did that from Charleston as well, right, as an AC. So leading your crew in combat, and I always say, even if you're not an IP, if you are the AC on the crew, you're an instructor. So you are figuring out how to instruct that crew. And I could really tell from the comments that you gave me that brought you a lot of joy. You also, meanwhile, upgraded AC masters in English, which is incredible. Again, really, really focused on that goal, which is to get back to USAFA and teach. And I think that was your first attempt to ask, can I go back to USAFA? And they were like, no. You just qualified in the C-17, you're really good, you're gonna go fly that again for another assignment. All right, so we did AC upgrade, and then we leave, and was it en route that you went to IP, so instructor, aircraft, and so you did that in 364 days. I also meant to get another disclaimer. Any really specific numbers are from Jess. Mine are rounded, hers are to like the 5th decimal point. 364 days upgrades to instructor. That's really impressive. That is a quick upgrade. So incredible job. And again, the quote you gave me is you loved finding new ways to instruct your students. Again, blending that joy of flying and that joy of instruction and teaching in 17. So you had your second department, you were selected mobility. So again, highly competitive. This is like the top tier of Air Mobility Command that's getting to go and do this. And this is where to the contingency response which we just saw. She was dealing with stuff beeping and doors coming down all the time. So you head to the contingency response world, and again, you're still getting #1 strats in IP and obviously very, very accomplished. But you're really focused on USAFA. So in 2020, I think you're the only direct hire. 15. Oh, back in 15, right? You're the only direct hire to get to come to USAFA as an instructor. So you're getting to come to USAFA to but despite all of the accomplishments, 2 bigger accomplishments while we were at McGuire, you brought your 2 Jersey boys onto team command. So now we're a team of, and we're back at this point, right? You did your army, you were all being real military, and then you came back to us. And, then and she brought you back. Okay, so we hung out in Jersey and then found out, hey, we get to go to USAFA. So you're heading back to where kind of it all began. So before I hand it over to Colonel Matthias, I'm going to give you a couple of numbers, and I'm going to use another digital humanities term and say I did a little bit of sentiment analysis, which I think you love because that looked like that was in your dissertation or your, yeah, did I use the right word? Sentiment analysis, if we did this on your record of performance, it would be off the charts positive in every way. You can't help but get a sense of how hardworking, persistent, and resilient you all are throughout this whole career. You have been an IP in every single aircraft you've flown, so C-17, E-11, T-53, and I already talked about how hard it is to be a part of this group and really regularly flying when you have a full job on the hill. You do that so well. You've flown on all 7 continents, which is pretty incredible. Not a lot of people can say that, and you did that because you were dedicated to making sure you were prepared to go. You have 3,547.5 hours, which is a lot of hours. More than a third of that is combat, and more than a third of that, or just about a third of that, is instructor time. Again, incredible amount of flying experience. You have 421.1 T-53 hours. That has to be up there pretty high. Someone who's smart, tell me. Yeah, it's pretty high up there. Montage flyer, again, just a crazy feat to be able to do. You braved a blacked out cockpit and aircraft in a combat zone. You handled that as an aircraft commander, again, as an instructor aircraft commander. Scary thing, and you might want to say something you said, you might want to use some choice words, but instead you calmly got everything going back on the aircraft and got your crew back to safety. I'm told someone back that. Absolutely. Okay, another good story for the bar, probably. And you flew to Pueblo back with me to be like almost as scary as losing all your electronics. They know. In the C-17. Incredibly honored to be part of today. Thankful for everything you've given to the 306. We won't forget it. You made a huge impact on this group, and we're so excited for all of the past next. So,
Thank you, Colonel Taylor. I love that I get to share the stage with my classmate.
Fired up.
And thank you for your leadership, and thank you for hosting us in the hangar. What I love about this, right, we are in the space where things happen that are so different than maybe what happens up in the academic space, or what many of our friends who don't work in the military may have never seen. It's Top Gun, it's this, it's a dirty, noisy hangar. We're moving planes around. Remember, when we get up out of our seats, don't run into the wings with your heads. I also love that we get to celebrate Jess, right? A strong leader, a dedicated officer, a delight. Thank you. This is a big day. I'm going to read my script because the last time I did this, I missed some things. So we're not going to repeat them. As inspiring as Jess's operational experience is, we all know it's only one part of the story. I get to share with you today another part, the story within the story. At each point where Jess was commanding aircraft, where she was training pilots, she even, can we have a moment? You learned digital humanities in the last 48 hours.
I mean, I said the whole time.
You succeeded in even educating another officer in this field.
Yes, you did, I know.
This week. Even as you've been organizing air operations all around the world, you have also had this energy that you devoted to your academic studies and your research, and you fueled this entire other dimension to your career. Consider that in 2007, the same time Jess was flying missions in support of overseas operations in Afghanistan and Iraq, she was scheduling C-17 crew missions, she was working toward that aircraft commander upgrade. She also enrolled in the College of Charleston to pursue her master's degree, because, she wasn't busy enough. She had to take additional classes, because her undergraduate staff didn't quite cover the basics of what was going to become a degree in literary studies, and she still finished the degree in record time, graduating in 2008. Thesis, back then, explored the myth of the American dream, and how American literature shows us that maybe individual hard work isn't enough to overcome entrenched social systems and power dynamics. So then we fast forward to 2014. More flying moves, more bases. Hi, man, Jorge. More family. That was when I was in 2012. Jess applied to a faculty position here at the Air Force Academy and was directly hired to teach English. So Colonel Taylor mentioned that this route is really exceptional. We have a pathway to connect officers and graduates to grow, with graduate programs, to grow our future faculty. It has blind spots. We didn't see a math major who pivoted to become a literary scholar, but Jess found us. And she dove in to lead the next generation of cadets through their freshman writing and sophomore literature classes. So this window when I found Jess, we were at a research conference. A mutual friend and mentor of ours invited me to lunch with some of the members of the department and said maybe I could talk about John Stein. To talk for research, then about programs, then about some of the dynamics of our professional fields and officership, and in recent months about this milestone and about what comes next. Stories within stories upon stories, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So by 2016, Jess was already testing new approaches to her curriculum. She was exploring how digital technologies could create new techniques of literary study. She was taking on more responsibility in the English department to help execute its mission, and she was interested in pursuing her doctorate. I remember clearly during that period, Jess found her words for her approach to her studies. And I was really excited about her perspective and what she would bring to our field. At Michigan State, she connected with the right academic mentors to guide her through her work, to write her dissertation and earn her degree. For those of you who have experienced this level of graduate work, imagine the bleak Michigan winter in the time of COVID, writing your project. For those of you who haven't, please know, however quiet and sedentary and solitary our work appears from the outside, it is a grueling endurance race of the mind. As I was writing this, I don't know why, the phrase that came to mind was time of pain. These are the times that try men's souls. Jess succeeded in advancing this new approach to literary studies using data analysis and digital tools. She learned to code. She applied her interest in physics, her military operator, her previous studies of Steinbeck, her insights as a scholar to expose literary techniques and social truths in new ways. In her dissertation, Autistic Characters, Decoding Embedded Sentiment. Her committee chair noted that demonstrated enormous potential for interventions in the fields of digital humanities, disability studies, and literary cognitive studies. Just returned to the Air Force Academy, a doctorate, and she built a new component of our core academic program, the Digital Humanities course. She She developed the curriculum, she secured the resources, she helped train fellow faculty, and led this establishment of this new way of teaching those required classes. The institution's pretty proud of its broad academic program and of its advanced technologies, and this digital humanities class really provides a link between these different disciplines. I'm proud that we've actually started a conversation about how to expand digital humanities to the rest of the humanities departments. I think Colonel Martin's jealous. But not a month passes without a student coming to my office telling me that I have to approve their change to a schedule because they have to be in English 212. Tell them to read. They don't. While Jess was launching this new initiative, she also found the inspiration in teaching cadets world literature and colonialism. She earned a multi-million-dollar Carnegie Mellon to study and produced during the pandemic. And in all of these endeavors, she expanded her research and helped us see which systems and operations and policies affect people. So even as this academic trajectory weaves between the exceptional milestones of a career in aviation and military operations, this academic story and the aviation story, there's one more I want to trace for you. It would be easy to call it service or leadership, but I call it a professional is not just someone with a title or credentials. A professional is someone who has committed to a field in such a way that they understand it broadly and deeply. They see what it can accomplish and where it falls short. They care about whether it improves in the future, and most importantly, that caring becomes the action that makes the improvement possible. Moments of Jess's professional life that bring all of this together still have something more. She mentored junior officers, young women, peer colleagues at every step of the way. She facilitated focus groups and networking lunches and conferences to connect people with information and skills and each other's support networks. In our Literature Association, she served as a graduate student representative, which is a huge honor that, like, none of us who come through this weird military pipeline get to do. She was advising the executive committee on and policies for junior students. As the deputy department head of the English department, Jess navigated the unprecedented turmoil of the global pandemic and transition. And she observed the positive parts of our culture and was able to help her fellow faculty members rebuild trust after trauma. And even when I asked Jess about this, I said I want to emphasize that moment with all of us, she wanted to change. Because this is who Jess is. This is where we see the human beings behind the sortie count. The 6,600 classes every academic year. This is the why of our work. Jess cares enough to make it better for all of us and to include us in that future. Through all the uncertainty and the injuries and the you have continued to push for it to be better. So we learn in studying English that lived experience is messy, and maybe narrative is a way of organizing that mess to make meaning. So this is why Colonel Taylor is today, to tell the helps us all understand what Jess's time has meant for the Air Force and for our nation. Each of us here, all of our friends and family, we will carry forward what she taught us because we are part of the story too. While Taylor's retiring from the Air Force, though, isn't done. The example for how we also have to make it better because of what you're going to go do next. She's going to start a new position this fall as a professor in Western Michigan University's College of Aviation, where she will bring together all of her talent and experience as a pilot and an academic and a professional to continue to inspire and teach. So Juan, Jaime, Jorge, I know you love Jess, your mom. I know it's really hard to share her with everybody, but we proud of the fact that you are. You have been and you continue to be yourself. So congratulations on your retirement, and I'm so excited for the next part of your story.
So. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Air Force Meritorious Service Medal. Lieutenant Colonel Jess distinguished herself with of outstanding states as Assistant Professor, Department of English and Fine Arts, United States Air Force Academy. In this period, Colonel Lopez significantly advanced the field of digital core curriculum integration and execution of in the effective teaching instructor pilot, providing flight instruction, powered flight and instruction programs, and as a mentor for research projects and honor rehabilitation. As principal investigator, explored creativity in the in a program. Distinguished career upon herself in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain. Colonel Matthias will now Lieutenant Colonel Lopez.
The order.
Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C. Special Order. Retirement of Lieutenant Colonel is retired in the Lopez. Jessica Lopez is retired in the grade of Lieutenant Colonel effective 1 December by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. You may be seated. At this time, Matthias is certificate of retirement, United States of America, year 7 months and Chief Master Sergeant. It is customary to recognize during the retirees reads as follows. In grateful appreciation for the commitment and numerous positive impacts to the service to your spouse's service. I may
One more.
Thank you. Now, thank you, Colonel Matthias. For more than 100 years, the symbol of our nation's unity, a pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born in 14, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States, red symbolizes hardness and valor, signifies perseverance, carry this message and in home and abroad. Stripes waving. Baltimore. 1892, 69, the American. Today, world. It flies U.S. Air Force defending freedom. The airmen remain committed to proving the freedom that won for us to come. Displaying the distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and gratitude to the individuals who fought for it today.
Step.
Thank you, Base Honor Guard.
Before I get going on the remarks prepared, I do want to say thank you so much to Colonel Taylor, Colonel Mathias, kind words for describing my unique nuances and its layers, and I'm so glad that I continue to proselytize digital humanities and expand the influence going forward. Thank you. So much support to my parents, John, Colleen, Don, Lauren, Josh. Thank you on this journey, along with my uncle and aunt here today, Larry and but even though they gave me that foundation with Juan, technically a little if you count in those kid at that time, but we've been married now for 21 years, and it was all crazy getting married days after graduation, but here we are, and as provided in the remarks, we do still mostly like each other. So we made it mostly work. A few things here and there, as was kind of described in the remarks. I won't go through those. Jaime and Jorge. Vote on. Once we go to Michigan. All of my friends here. This brings me so much joy. Everybody's face. Different people that I've encountered. People that I consider just like been years, and then obviously both flying and the English department. We've had an on about 2015, so being on for being able to reach out. I encountered along the way. I know I probably will miss some people, any desire, but just know that I look out and I see everything, and it just brings me so much joy that you are here today with the end of one journey, but the beginning of the next journey. And there's nothing more to be written. One of the things that has stuck with me, I know, I guess has maybe been pointed out a little bit about me, perseverance and dedication and just determination that kind of has just been there along the way as I've gone along, which is when writing the narrative of your own life, never let anybody else hold the pen. Be the person that you, not the person that somebody expects you to be, not that is untrue to yourself, to your passions, to your desires. I'm up here today with people, family, friends, all different assignments, people that have touched me and that I can't think of anything else, but like I wouldn't share with this amazing group of people if it hadn't just the dedication, the perseverance, the resilience, and just being true to who I am. And that's not necessarily the person at times. I would say that I'm a mostly nice person, except for making it through a 4-minute national anthem. My apologies. You know, I kind of have my own little flair in there. It's one of those things where I hear with everybody else. One of the things, I'll bring in a dorky digital be me and the ceremony if I didn't. But one of the things that we kind of think about in digital humanities, we think of like all these different, the network doesn't exist without everybody. Everybody here has a different node of my life and has had an impact on me. Otherwise you wouldn't be here and everything else that this afternoon or hopefully, you know, I appreciate it. But nonetheless, in these you all have the impact on me. I'm walking alongside you, with you, and so I'm so thankful. Friends and everybody, I greatly appreciate everybody who made this happen. It isn't where necessarily, as pointed out, that I live here. So thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And this tribute to that layer within obviously, kind of like end note, I do want to say, family, I wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of some of the fun things that we're going to get to. So, yeah. This is a tetherball set that we can set up. Open it here real quick, it'll make more sense.
Use those muscles, buddy. No. There you go. Use those throwing muscles.
Alright, so the story here is a house, but because I'm there, I couldn't for the basketball hoop here. So this is what you can play with. This will be the basketball hoop at our new house. It's a over-the-door basketball hoop. And one.
Huh? I get something.
Our relationship and my
Last through the drive.
Again, to my family, thank you for taking the time to hear things about my career. I know I'm aware of them as they I'm hoping that different spin and a little bit more about some of the stuff I do for history in so many different ways. Not only obviously, but my military family along the way. You are all very meaningful to me, and I would not think I would be here in this moment. So thank you. I'm going to start crying, so I can excited. Thank you.
And singing of the Air Force song.